Good day to everyone. Let me quickly acknowledge the presence of our two honorable honest judges, Senior Judge His Honor Justice Batari, and our Judge, Resident Judge, Judge John Numako, and our Senior Provincial Magistrate, and all the legal fraternities. I see public prosecutors and public solicitor and all the lawyers. I acknowledge the presence of my colleague, Member of Parliament, Honorable Francis Maneke, and all you pastors, the servant of God, who have done excellent prayers so far for all our three law and order groups, starting from our correctional service, police, and judiciary. I also see the representatives coming all the way from Lucky Mata. Thank you for your prayer. Thank you always for our United Church choir. They are very popular for their choir singing, and no dignitaries visiting West Britain will never miss their choir, including when Prime Minister comes. We take them to go and do a choir for Prime Minister. But it gives me a great pleasure and honor. Let me thank our Judge Batari, who has served almost like a decade actually. And of course, I've been part of it when, especially when he lost his dear wife, and when his son Philip, and then was transferred here. It's almost like 10 long years he has served. It also gives us a lot of benefits, as our judge mentioned. He has also been chairing various committees in the judiciary, one of which is the infrastructure committee. We have been greatly partnering with the judiciary in terms of getting some infrastructures done for Western Britain. Especially, we were proud that with the 600,000 kina initially we paid, the national judiciary can contribute almost 7-8 million kina to build a state-of-the-art facility in Biala. Though Biala is not as big as Kimbe, but Biala is certainly going to be a district headquarters. When the new Nakanai districts approved by Parliament. So it's not a mistake that we have a court, national court, built in Biala. It is not only going to help our national court, but also our district court, because Biala is it's a growing town. It's just in between Kimbe and Kokopo. So it has a great potential as a growing town with Huggy oil palm and rovers. It's attracting all the people from all walks of life. So it's timely, the development. So there are many other partnership development programs which Justice Batari has achieved in his time. I'm sure with Talasia DDA also he supported building a community, or what you call a community or village court system. And we have also witnessed the opening of our Bali rural court. We still have a plan to build our Cambrian rural court and also strengthen all this judiciary system, within Western Britain, because judiciary is the third organ of, any country, and it is one of the most important again. Even we politicians got into trouble, we always run to court, either to stop something or to get some clarity. Even election of Prime Minister or whatever, serious business in Parliament, when we cannot resolve ourselves, the only place where we can get some answer or a solution is always court. So the importance of this court. Someone offers me to become, I'm not qualified, but even offer me to become a judge, it is impossible for me to accept, because it's not an easy job. They have to be aloof all the time, and they keep to themselves. And it's not an easy task, when you want to punish someone, because at the back of the mind, we always think of also our mistakes, our wrongs, our shortcomings, and it is not going to be so easy to punish someone, especially with the harsh punishments like, giving life sentence. And of course, the gravity of the mistake is such that also warrants such punishment. Even at this time of Parliament sessions, like we were about to repeal the previous decision of death penalty, but it's going to come again in March session. The argument in Parliament will be whether we accept, to repeal the death penalty to life sentence. The point is whether we do really have the right, even as a judge, right to take someone's life. So it's a big question, so I leave it to the wisdom of Parliament to decide on. But being a judge is not an ordinary job. I remember when the Justice, the previous, before Justice Judge Numako Kam, I think he's in Baigani, Miviri, Justice Miviri. Even he was shot once when he was coming out of his house in Section 21. But irrespective of all those difficulties and challenges, yet if the judges can stay and continue to provide, deliver justice for our people, that's a great thing, because that's the last line of hope. When people do not have hope with us politicians or with us, with any other system, the only last hope for them is the judiciary. That is why the judiciary is like, it's a topmost organization, or it's always maintained its independence. In a way, we also should be proud in PNG, because our judiciary is totally independent. And that's what actually gives confidence to investors and business people, because once we enter into contract, once we have some agreement in place, the judiciary, the court upholds those contracts, irrespective of whether if it is between government and investor. Whoever is right, they always take side with those people who are right. So that gives the biggest confidence for investors. Otherwise, we wouldn't be seeing those billions of kina or dollars worth of investment happening in our country. Justice should not only be done, but also it should be perceived having been done. Like there was an incident in New York City. The city mayor, his name was La Guardia. There the mayor also preside the court. They had like a night court. When they brought a man, trembling in the winter, in front of the mayor, Lord Mayor Guardia. I acknowledge our Lord Mayor also here for Kimbe County. Brought him. He was caught for stealing merely bread, a loaf of bread. So when the mayor, La Guardia, was hearing the case, he heard that he was charged with stealing a loaf of bread. And while inquiring, he actually gave a verdict saying that ordering a fine of $10. While giving the verdict, he took the $10 from his pocket and he paid that fine. And again, he also charged those whoever present in the court, each one like 50 cents. For those who are living in the city, which a person have to steal in order to survive. So he charged that 50 cents and collected from those sitting in the courtroom and gave it back to that defendant. So that's why, like, sometimes we go plainly with the fact, but also it has to come with some compassion, compassionate ground. And I'm sure our judges in Papua New Guinea always give emphasis those compassionate ground, that they are not just going by book, but also they look at the situations whereby the crime happened or the situations happened, and they always apply for that compassionate ground. And again, we know that there is no justice, or there is no justice on empty stomach. When a person is hungry, we can't expect, for him to, follow law and order. So it again, comes back to the responsibility us as a society. It is always, a state is better governed, which has but few laws, and those laws are strictly observed. We are passing like record number of laws, but I believe we do have enough laws, and as long as we can execute, or we can apply those laws, or strictly observe those laws, then I think we will be better governed. And again, our judicial verdicts, may not change the hearts of our people, but they certainly can prevent people from being heartless. In fact, the world today needs more justice than charity. Often we need charity because of injustice. So we, in the province, being a mixed society, having people from all walks of life, we are not just dealing with one group of people. You go to Rabaul, predominantly you deal with Kolais. You go to New Ireland, predominantly you deal with one or two group of people, whereas in West New Britain we deal with the entire country. So then you can obviously expect, the social issues or challenges which we always face. So it is not easy to maintain that law and order situations, especially at this time. We are facing a record number of law and order situations. I feel terribly guilty. One of our magistrates' house also has been broken into, and this poses a great challenge. It again falls back to our community and our society. No child is like a born criminal. When a child is born, he is as pure, and it depends as to how the mother or the family looks after or grow that child, whether the child will become a great man or become a culprit or criminal. So it depends on the family, how they look after that child and bring him and their upbringing. So it again falls back into our responsibility, we as parents. If we as parents do not want to or feel hesitate to discipline our children, then these people will discipline our children. And there is no point of us regretting later when our son, when we were enjoying, when they were bringing some kind of loot without even checking how did he get all those things, and the family enjoying those things. And finally when he gets caught and the judiciary delivers the verdict of some serious punishment, then we regret. And ultimately we parents are totally responsible for those children. That is why it is always responsibility of us as parents and also as a society, how we bring up our children, especially our future generation. I also acknowledge Justice Batari's last 10 years work, and again his going back to Waigani is also timely, and I thank him also for acknowledging the need for additional 2 judges at least, because West New Britain we have a record number of cases and it is impossible. It is like a Thalassia member looking after Thalassia district, so it will be like Justice Numapo looking after case which we need at least the judges whereby he can effectively, efficiently deliver the justice to our people. And again, one of the important factors is also to make justice available for everyone, even the smallest people or people who do not have any hope. They also can access the judiciary, the justice system. And any good and faithful and hardworking judge will or must always strive to determine what is right rather than who is right. So I'm so thankful and blessed to come and witness the prayers for our judiciary and our correctional services and our police forces who needed these much needed prayers, and to continue their service in the midst of many challenges they will be encountered. And these prayers will greatly help them, and I'm truly honored and blessed to witness this prayer section, prayer mass. I also wish that we can propose some reforms, especially in our correctional service, in terms of, as our Judge Batari has mentioned, in terms of how we can rehabilitate, those going. I remember clearly when, in any Indian prison, a person going in there for 5 years or 10 years. So when the person comes out, they show it in the movie like a guy comes out of the prison after 5-10 years. The prison officers will give his old clothes or whatever, and then he gives him like some bundles of cash. Bundles means not small, like 4 or 5 big bundles of cash, because that is what basically he earned, when he was actually inside by being a carpenter or being whatever they, produce or make it, which the prison markets and keep those money under as their savings. So when a person comes out, he was not only rehabilitated, but also he has some capital, to start off with, whether he's carpentry work or whatever profession, he was trained or he was skilled while he was in the prison. So those are much needed reforms, in our correctional service system. And I think Ombudsman Commission was complaining that they were one of the worst supported, in terms of the correctional service facilities or their housings, various challenges. As you all know that we also face challenges in terms of our police housing and our police station infrastructure, not just for Kimbe, but it's also for Biala, Gloucester, Kendian and other sections. And in our 2022 budget also we are greatly supporting all these law and order justice, law and order sectors. That includes your judiciary, correction service and police and all the three partners. So I'm so grateful that we could witness the legal year opening today, and it gives me a great pleasure and honor to officially declare that 2022 legal year is open starting today. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you.